Welcome back to In Defense of the Awkward Moment. Trying a new credit sequence there, something to make things a little bit easier. Life's picking up a little bit, so piecing things together manually takes a little bit more time than I can afford to spend on these things. So hope it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Came out on Friday, screened it Saturday morning with a bunch of fine young cannibals. I don't think it's any secret for anybody who's had conversations with me about movies from the MCU, that I'm not a huge fan, maybe, of the first Guardians of the Galaxy. It wasn't necessarily a bad movie, but I think that it was a good movie only because of a lot of magical sprinkled pixie dust and some of the amazing writing that gets done at Marvel. Guardians of the Galaxy was an IP that just wasn't very popular, and there were far fewer big names in it than some of the other Marvel movies, and it was just kind of a quirky movie, and somehow everything congealed and special sauce, and voila! All of a sudden, everybody just absolutely nuts about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Completely and totally aided by the soundtrack to the movie, which was, by all accounts, extraordinarily well received. Lots of people enjoyed it, including myself. It was a really, really good soundtrack. I am in the minority that believes that the soundtrack was used extraordinarily poorly. However, there's a right time and a right place to play songs for dramatic effect, and some things just absolutely detract from the potency of a movie. You don't play polka music when you're going into a boss fight, and unless you're Weird Al Yankovic. Long live Weird Al. And you can't slow walk to Cherry Bomb. That's what I keep coming back to. You can't slow walk to Cherry Bomb, which happens in the first Guardians movie for the people that weren't really familiar with the soundtrack. It's just, it doesn't work. The other thing that the first Guardians movie really kind of suffered from is because they were such an unknown, the movie took a double hit, because you really had to kind of explain your characters before you could move on with the rest of the movie. That's fine. Guardians 2 obviously doesn't suffer from that. Everybody knows who the characters are, and it can get right into it. And from here on out, I'm waving the spoilers flag around. I have an imaginary spoilers flag. Spoilers. Go see the movie. You should definitely go see the movie. I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it far more than the first movie. I think that it was a superior film to the first movie in every way, including its soundtrack. And I know I'm probably going to be the minority in that one as well. The soundtrack for Guardians Volume 2 took more music from the 70s and I believe the early 80s. And the last one took a lot of music from the 60s and early 70s. I really enjoyed the soundtrack in this one a whole lot more. And they used it quite a bit better in this one. They still did a slow walk to a really stupid song, or rather, they used an alright song and just used it for a slow walk, and it's bad. You can't do that. But all in all, I mean, the second movie was so much better than the first one, and not just so much better than the first one. This is, in my opinion, one of the better movies that Marvel has pushed out for the MCU so far. They really have capitalized on that Guardians of the Galaxy IP that they've established in the cinematic world, and they really spend a lot of good time telling stories for each of the individual characters, and then bringing them together at the end of the movie for something fantastic and for something meaningful. And there's not an inconsiderable quantity of tear-jerking moments in this movie, legitimate ones that are well set up. And a lot of that revolves around Chris Pratt. It shouldn't be any secret to anybody by now that a lot of the theme of the movie revolves around family, and you can't talk about family without talking about Star-Lord and Peter Quill's mother being dead, and Peter not knowing who his father is, and maybe his father's from the stars, and blah, blah, blah. And of course you meet Ego, the Celestial in this movie, played excellently by Kurt Russell. The least creepy digital de-aging I think that I have seen to date. They did well with that. His hair was massive. both when he was de-aged and he was appropriately aged. Yeah, they just did. Kurt Russell just crushed it. He's a fantastic actor. I absolutely love Kurt Russell. And obviously that kind of scratches the whole family itch that Peter Quill's been whinging about for a while, yeah, I really don't want to give too much away about the story because it's a really, really good movie, and you really should go and see it for yourself. There's not a whole lot bad about this movie at all. It is. It's unfortunate. It's lamentable that there really aren't any twists in this movie. Anybody that knows, who Ego is the Celestial. Anybody that knows who Ego is, and that's a no-brainer. There's no mystery about there being another shoe in this movie and about that other shoe dropping. There's no mystery about that at all. So there's no twist about the plot of the movie. That having been said, I don't really think it suffers from it. As you get deeper and deeper into the storyline, the fact that the other shoe is coming is really just that much more gut-wrenching. You know that it's going to go sideways, and you just see Peter getting drawn deeper and deeper into it. And when the inevitable conclusion comes, there's a couple of legitimately tear-jerking moments in this movie. Yandu Udanta, much more prominent role in this movie, is the blue-skinned Ravager with the arrow that he controls with his brain meats. Although you do learn that he controls it with some different meats in this movie. I'm not sure why my camera just got a whole lot brighter. I'm not sure why that happened at all. You also get another new Guardian of the Galaxy, a delightful little creature named Mantis, which is clearly, painfully beat over the head. Obviously, supposed to be a love interest for Drax, and as blatant as they make it, it just doesn't matter because she's so stinking cute. The interplay between her and Drax is very, very good. They all. I was really shocked, especially given how lukewarm I was about the first movie. I was really very, very pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed this second movie. Lots of great backstory about Peter. Lots of great backstory about Gamora. Lots of good backstory about Nebula, which is good. She's a far more interesting character than Gamora. Period. Gamora is a far more palatable character in this movie. I really felt like she was kind of throwaway in the first one. She's a far more palatable character in this. The relationship that they explore between her and Peter Quill is very, very well done. To the point that they even kind of poke fun at it in the movie. That's absolutely fantastic. Lots of good backstory with Rocket. And I don't want to spoil that at all because that's one of the more potent parts of the movie. Groot tries desperately to run away with the whole film, and he very nearly accomplishes it again. I don't think anybody will argue that he is definitely one of, if not the biggest highlight in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And he comes out swinging in the second one, and is just a riot anytime he's on screen. That having been said, doesn't manage to run away with the movie because, again, the rest of the movie is just that stinking good. Really, a very, very good movie. I was extraordinarily surprised by it. I take that back. There is one twist. There is one little twist, and you're not waiting for it at all when it happens, and it's pretty gut wrenching when it does. Reach for the Kleenex when Ego and Peter start having their deep, deep conversation about the woman that he fell in love with. That's a gut kicker. It really, really is. I don't want to tell you what happens because you need to watch it yourself. Brutal point in the movie. Other side quests, the Sovereign, fun characters. Neat to watch them on screen. Lots of yellow and gold makeup. So much of that. I don't even want to imagine how much time it took him to get into makeup. Fun characters. The scenes with them and their drones and their drone pilots are an absolute riot, and you'll see why when you get into the movie theater. Lots of fun there, lots of tongue in cheek. You get some Sylvester Stallone. I love me some Sly. I really, really do. And he adds good things to this. And where there's Sylvester Stallone as a Ravager, you get more Yondu Udanta, which I mentioned earlier. Backstory with Yondu is also great, also super potent. Really ties up neatly with a bow the business of him abducting Peter and then not returning Peter to his father. Really, really ties that up into a bow. Big paradigm shift for how you think about Yondu Udanta. I really like that name, Yondu Udanta. Good times. Very, very good times in that movie. Yeah, there's not a whole lot more that really needs to be said for that. This movie took the first one and improved on it in every conceivable way. Every conceivable way. Yeah. Say hello to my wife, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I got. Love to hear what you thought about the movie. Talk to me in the comments.